Behavior has given us a player survey that I'm going to do because I've heard some interesting questions are asked on here, so we'll see what happens. Every time we do these, I always go through them just because I think it's fun, but we'll see. Overall, how satisfied or dissatisfied are you with Dead by Daylight? Say I'm satisfied. I love the game right now. I still, like, it's genuinely fine for me, personally. To what extent do you agree or disagree with the following? Dead by Daylight is fun. Agree. Dead by Daylight is worth the time I spend on it. Agree. I feel that the game is fair. It's such a loaded question. I'm going to say agree. What country do you reside in? I'm going to dox myself on stream, chat. Let's fucking go. United States. Which role do you mostly play? Killer mostly. PC. What platforms do you own? PC and Switch. When did you start playing Dead by Daylight? Man, I always forget. Nemesis DVD release dates. 2021. Okay. God, I've only been playing for 3 years. It's kind of nuts. How often do you play Dead by Daylight with friends? Rarely. I mean, we do community night. That's about it, really. When did you last play Dead by Daylight? This week! I played it right to yesterday, and I'm playing it right now. How many days a week do you spend at least 30 minutes? 2 to 3. How many days a week do you spend at least 30 minutes playing other video games? 6 to 7. I play other games more than I play Dead by Daylight, honestly. How often do you watch Dead by Daylight content creators? Multiple times a week. Yeah, I'll say every day. I watch Kaiser videos every day, so. How would you rate your experience with matchmaking in the last 3 months? Neutral, it's been fine. Teammates matched with, neutral, it's been fine. Opponents, neutral, it's been fine. Like, it's wishy-washy, so. What is your perception of the balance in Dead by Daylight? 2 survivor-sided, 2 killer-sided. Balance. I think the game is perfect, is fine balance-wise. I don't think either side, technically speaking, has an advantage. I think if both sides know exactly what they're doing at all times, the game is perfectly balanced. In my opinion. In Dead by Daylight, to what extent do you agree or disagree with the following statements? The people I play with are sometimes angry, agree. Offensive, depends. Mean, agree. Good-natured, disagree. Sympathetic, disagree. Friendly, neutral. Hurtful. Toxic falls under like 4 of these, but whatever. Have you tried the latest chapter? Yes, I played the Survivor and the Killer. How'd you hear about this chapter? How satisfied or dissatisfied are you with the latest chapter? I'm generally satisfied. I liked all the perks that were added. I think they're all interesting and have their niches. Especially Trevor's. I think all of Trevor's are good. Hey, Figman, I'm working on a giant DBD video for the month of October, and I need Chucky player. I was recommended to you by some other people on board. Would you be interested in something like this? If so, where's the best way? The best place to get in contact with me would be Discord. Let me... If I can find... Hang on. I'm an idiot. Okay. There's a link to my Discord server. I don't care if you go in there and just friend... if you go into the server, friend me, and then leave, I don't care. That's perfectly fine. That's the easiest way to get in contact with me, though. I check my Discord more than I check anything else. If you don't mind me asking, what do you have in mind? I'm always interested to help. My entire brand is around helping people. I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't. I'm gonna keep doing the survey. Wait, real quick though. Overall, how satisfied or dissatisfied are you with each of the following? General theme of the chapter. I joined it earlier, but didn't want to DM just yet. No, you're fine. I have my DMs open for a reason. Just if all you say is hi, just don't expect me to respond, is all I tell everybody. Just be forward and tell me what you need, and then I will more than likely respond. But yeah, just whenever you can, just do that. I might take a minute to get back to it since I'm on stream now, but or I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I did see you join. Actually, I did. I'm sorry about that. 2 and 2 didn't click. Where was I? General theme of the chapter. I mean, it's Castle. It feels like Castlevania, so I'm going to say very satisfied. The add-on design was great. The perk design was cool as far as, like, thematics go. Like I said, like, some of them were really cool nods. I like that the palette stunning one was, basically, like, the closest equivalent we could get to, like, a whip kind of thing, for Trevor, which was cool. Dracula's perks are a little not thematic, but they are what they are. His power, though, I think is really great. The gameplay is killer. Very satisfied. Gameplay against the killer, I'd say neutral. I think Hellfire cooldown needs to go up. I do like that they're switching him more into being the shapeshifter character, which I think is cool. Rotating through the cooldowns. I just wish the cooldowns were longer to kind of make the rotations more of a thing, similar to Vecna. The technical performance of the chapter. I haven't found any real bugs, so I'm going to say satisfied. Did you play Dead by Daylight to acquire this chapter? What? Did you play Dead by Daylight? Oh, prior to acquiring. Yes, I actively played Dead by... Okay. How familiar are you with the Castlevania franchise? I'm a huge Metroid fan. I've never played a Castlevania game. I have never played a Castlevania game. I'm not going to be perfect. I'm going to be perfectly frank with everybody. I've never played a Castlevania game in my life. So I'm going to say slightly. I know of it, but I've never played. It's a video going over every killer in the game. I discussed their lore, their kit, their unique perks, and then I wanted to invite some of the best players as each killer to showcase a beginner's starter build and their favorite build, slash the best build, then a game as the killer using the starter one. It's meant for new, intermediate, and veteran players to find out a wide variety of knowledge about each killer, which also introduces them to various content creators. You know what's funny, Hunter? I'm totally down for that. I don't know if you know of my YouTube stuff. I do this thing called the Killer Main Podcast, where I bring on individual killer mains for each of the killers. We're actually down to the last 2 now, 3 if you count Dracula. I got Bubba and Trapper left. The original plan and where that spawned from was doing exactly what you're doing now. So I am all for it. I am all for helping somebody with that because I understand how difficult it can be to get someone for every killer. And if you need help getting other people for this, we can talk about it in DMs and whatnot, but I'd be more than willing to help and reach out to people that I already know. I'm friends is a strong word, depending on who you ask, but I at least know of and talk to pretty much someone who mains every killer. So if you need help with that, we can talk about that later. But yeah, for sure, I'd be totally down for that. When did you first play the Castlevania chapter? Launch day? What? Why did that question give me like a fucking brain fart? I don't know, man. What are you, a cop? Also funny. Dominance, Wretched Fate, Human Greed. Cool. How would you rate the following perks in terms of usefulness? Dominance, very useful. Wretched Fate, somewhat useful. I think Wretched Fate is probably the one that people were talking about way too much. I don't think it's that good most of the time. Human Greed, moderately so. Because it was similar starting point, but I also because I've been using the podcast as a resource, I have no clue that word. Fair enough. It is what it is. But yeah, no, like the original, I've talked about the origins of the podcast before. Originally, I was going to have a video. It's not exactly what you were saying it was. What it was going to be was I was going to do a video showcasing mains of every killer. So it would be like a massive video going over, like, if you need resources for this killer, here is who you talk to. And after that, Gummy is actually how it started. Gummy, I asked Gummy if he wanted to talk about the hag part, and he was like, well, I could talk about hag for hours. And then I like jokingly asked, well, do you want to? And then boom, there you go. Podcast started from there. From your Hag podcast, and Archie told me to get in contact with you. Well, it's good on them. I love those two. Gummy's a good guy. Archie's a great guy too. And I appreciate them shouting me out. But yeah, for sure, I'd totally be down. My self-confidence would lead me to believe I'm probably not the best choice, but I appreciate you saying it. Seeing all the licenses Behavior has on their radar was surprising. Emerald, I've been told that the licenses were different for everybody, what the selection was, so I'm really curious what I get. So we'll see. What potential does each killer perk have to work well with other character perks synergistically? Dominance, considerable chances. Wretched Fate, quite a few. It's not perfectly synergistic. Human Greed, depends on your definition of synergistic. So I'm going to say quite. Or no, I'm going to say moderate. Because if it synergistically, like, it works with, like, all aura reading perks. And Lethal Pursuer. And Hoarder. But, like, technically speaking, it's not really synergizing with them. It's just working with yeah, whatever. How would you rate the quality of each of the following features? Dark Lord's character appearance, very high quality. They did a great job on Dracula's aesthetic in all the forms, in my opinion. The power, I think it's high quality. I think there's some issues with it, though, obviously. And the backstory, it's a licensed chapter, so I'm just going to say middle. How engaging do you find the general theme of the Dark Lord? What's the theme? It's Dracula. It's his best. Kind of a stupid. Okay, you know. How engaging do you find the general theme of the Dark Lord? Very engaging. I think the theme, the gameplay fantasy that they're trying to have of being a shapeshifter is new, different, and while it is a combination of other killer powers at the end of the day, it does that fantasy well, especially now that they've been going more into it, I feel. Be reaching out now, so be very down to mention your podcast in the video. I look forward to talking to you. Of course, Hunter. Of course. Like I said, just don't expect me to respond within 5 minutes, and we'll be perfectly A-okay. Just whenever you can. Relative to other killers, how powerful do you feel the Dark Lord is? I think he's stronger than the average. I think when he first came out, he was probably in the middle. But the shapeshift changes they've done to him as of then, I think have definitely bumped him up. He's stronger than the average killer. The following is a list of qualities that may or may not apply to any given killer. Please evaluate to what degree each statement is true of Dracula. Hi, Phoenix. We're just doing the survey that Riot Behavior sent out today. Okay. Is killer power reduce? Oh, Phoenix, while you're here, thank you for reminding me. I didn't put the timestamps on the video. I saw you DM me them, and then I guess I laid down, but then I forgot. Let me do that real quick. Again, as always, Phoenix, thank you so much for doing the timestamps for me. It saves me so much time. I love hearing myself talk, but, like, you know, I already said it once. I don't really want to say it again. Do we know if behavior actually takes these surveys into consideration? Well, it's just like any survey. I've worked in management positions at many jobs, and the way the surveys work is when they get the surveys, it's more of a guideline of references rather than a, hey, clearly people want this. It's more, it looks like people want this. Should we do it and how is what surveys technically do. In the past, there have been some things from the surveys that have gone into the base game. Base Kit Borrowed Time was one of them. Anti-Face Camp was one of them. Unknown's entire killer design, if I remember correctly, was pretty much in a reference to one of the surveys. Some of the balancing changes we've gotten over the years for killers after release have been from the surveys. I think that's what happened with Unknown recently, was the last survey. They took a lot of the keynotes from that and put it into the balance changes they're doing to Unknown right now. Cough, cough, Vanishing Box getting nerfed. So yeah, like surveys are mostly like they're more guidelines than like actual like data collection, if that makes any sense. Rather than taking the data from the surveys and just being like, okay, most people want this, we're gonna do it. They take the data from the survey and then they evaluate what they can do with that data and if it's a good idea or a bad idea to go against the grain of what everyone's asking for or to do what everyone's asking for. It's, yeah. Can I tell I took psychology? gotta keep going with this. The following is a list of qualities that may not. Okay. The killer's power reduces the effectiveness of pallet loops. Yeah, very true. The killer could travel around the map with ease. Very true. The killer relies on on luck to injure survivors. Moderately true. I wouldn't say rely. That's a strong word, but I get what they're asking. I mean, you know, sometimes you'll shoot a hellfire and the person just like for some reason runs back into it. So I would consider that luck. Also, like, you know, I don't know if it would be considered luck or not. Like, there's some things you can shoot through and some things you can't that are hard to know. So, like, I don't know if that would be considered. I would count it as luck. I'm just gonna say moderate. The killer's power is difficult to understand as a survivor. I'm gonna say moderately. I don't think it's hard to understand. Shoots pillar in straight line, can pounce, can go over pallets. Like I don't think it's very difficult to understand, but the killer's power facilitates. I have 2 college degrees. Facilitates patrolling generators in close proximity. I'd say not at all. I don't really think his power facilitates being a 3-gen killer. I'd say not true, mostly on the audio cue. That's probably the biggest thing I have to say is the I think Hellfire needs a bigger audio cue. For sure. Actually, I'm going to say moderately because Bat has too much of an audio cue, honestly. The killer's power reduces the effectiveness of hiding out of sight. Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, not at all. You can't see them in a third of his power. If survivors were using Survive with Friends, that would not help them against this killer. Okay, alright. So if we're thinking about this from the perspective of, does Survive with Friends affect Dracula's power? Like, his power as a whole? No. Survive with Friends doesn't really change it in the slightest. But if we're talking about general gameplay, of course it does. Okay, I'm just going to say the second to last. The killer's power is hard to master. Moderate. Depends on your definition, I suppose. I think it's hard to get the timings correctly if you don't know what you're doing, so I'm going to say moderate. What do you appreciate the most about the Dark Lord? The shape. What do you appreciate the least? What do I hate about Dracula? Oh. Let's say lack of sound cues and the cooldown on all the abilities, but mostly Hellfire. Hey, we're on Trevor's. Excel to... Is that the... Oh, that's a stunning one. How would you rate the file in terms of usefulness? A little. Moderately. A little. What potential does each of these have to synergistically work? Exaltation. Is there really anything you can combine with Exaltation and make it better? I'm going to say little chance of synergy. I mean, it synergizes with items, I guess. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to say moderate. No one's really been using Exaltation, so I don't know how it works with, like, Scavenger and Built to Last. Like, if you use Built to Last, right, with a toolbox, let's say it's a brown toolbox, okay? You use your toolbox, you go to a locker and use Built to Last, you get your toolbox back to 99%. You use your toolbox again, you get in a locker, you get your toolbox to I think it's 50% the next time. And you keep doing that until you're basically out of Built to Last stacks. And then you stun the killer, get a new toolbox. Does that reset Built to Last? Because it's a new item, technically. It would be a little cumbersome to do, but, like, you could do it, I guess. Yeah, I'm just going to say moderate. Eyes about considerable. Its entire purpose is to be synergistic. Moment of Glory. I'd say moderate. There's a few things you can do with Moment of Glory. I don't want to give them away because of our next community challenge. How would you rate the following features? How would you rate the quality of the following features? Character appearance, high quality. Again, they did... Actually, I'd say very high quality. They did a very good job. Backstory, it's a license, so I don't really care. How engaging do you find the general theme of Trevor? I think they did their best to adapt a Belmont into the game of Dead by Daylight, so I'm going to say moderate. Please rank the following features from 1v4 Dead by Daylight in the order that you would want to see them reworked. 1, most in need of a rework. Oh, okay. Normally they have another number there. Okay. Which of these do I think needs the biggest rework right now? We answer in random questions. It's not random. Maps. I think maps is the #1 thing. I think maps is the #1 thing. I think the hatch rework is #7. As much as I don't like the idea of what hatch is, it's in the game how it is, and I think it's perfectly fine. It's a gimme for the last survivor is basically what it is. I would love a rework system similar to what they did in the PTB that one time, where like hatch is like this like moment that happens of like a final chance. But I don't think that's necessary to add anytime soon. Perk reworks, I think, is 3. Perk buffs is 4. Yeah. So I would want them to work on maps first. Item rework next. Perk reworks next. Buffing and nerfing perks next. Killers buffing and nerfing next. And then a hatch reworking hook sabotage and then a hatch rework. As much as I understand that there are those few killers, Trapper, Myers, and Freddy, all sitting there, and Legion, and some of the bad killers. I think most of them, as far as what they're trying to do, is perfectly fine, with the exception of Freddy, in my opinion, and Trapper. But I think maps need to be reworked before we start touching killers, because the map design, in my opinion, is what dictates how we buff and nerf killers, right? That's the thing. And I think most of the cast is in a pretty okay spot. Maybe I'm an outlier for saying that, but I think most of the cast is in an okay spot. And I think that alone leads me to believe I would want like a killer change like they've been doing, not with Skull Merchant excluded. But yeah, that's pretty much how I'd do it. And like I said, Hatch is probably the one I don't really care about at all. Honestly, I think Hatch is fine. Please rank the following items in 1v4 Dead by Daylight in the order you believe they need to be reworked. Toolboxes. Keys. Flashlights. Medkits. Maps. I don't know if I'm a weirdo for that. But I think toolboxes are problematic. Keys are useless. That's why I put them at 2. Flashlights, they're fun, but like they don't really do much. I think medkits, like, I understand people's hatred towards them, but I think they do their job, so I think they're okay, personally. And then maps, again, as much as I wish more people brought them, they do their job. So I'm fine with maps. I think maps are probably the least concerning one on here. But keys at number 2, it's mostly because keys, they have a purpose, but I don't know. Like, they need to do something else, and they need... I wish keys didn't require add-ons to do something. I think that's my biggest thing with keys. But yeah. Of the following features, which would you be most interested in seeing in the future of Dead by Daylight? Pick one. More animation/actions in the core game. Being able to have user-generated content. Making 2v8 a permanent mode. Being able to use user-generated content to create my own outfits. Oh, my own maps, my own outfits. Updating maps to include more atmosphere. Improving the technical foundation of the game to reduce... I don't even have to read the rest. This is the one I'd be the most interested in. I don't give a shit. Don't get me wrong. Animations are cool. User-generated stuff, cool. 2v8, fun, cool. Weather effects, cool. Aesthetic updates to the map, cool. Adding interactable elements, cool. I've talked about how I want that too. Improving the technical foundation of the game to reduce cheating and hacking, cool. Adding more game modes to make them permanent, i.e. in arcade mode, cool. Improving the technical state of the game, the foundations for the bugs, is priority number 1. Cheaters and hackers are always going to be here. They shouldn't be here as much as they are, but they are always going to be here. Every online video game on the planet deals with them, so I don't even want them to... I want them to keep doing what they're doing with that. So, yeah. But the actual game foundation itself needs to be improved. I'm going to stop ranting about that now. Which of the following would you be the least interested in? That's a tough one. Probably the aesthetic update. I would love day and night cycles more than the aesthetic update. I really don't care about the complaints of, oh, this doesn't look like Dead by Daylight. Like, it's close enough. Like, honestly. Please rank the following visual improvements from the most urgent to the least urgent for the Dead by Daylight development team to start working on. Rework lighting, add more atmosphere, a weather system, day and night cycle, rework survivor animations, improving character models. I think a day and night cycle would be nicer. I think improving the lighting would be good. I think that's 3, 4, 5, 6. Honestly, this is probably... This is the one I don't really know what to say. The following questions will ask you about your opinions on 2v8 that was available in Dead by Daylight from July 25th to August 8th. Did you play 2v8s? Yes. Who says unsure? I don't know. Kind of fucking... Overall, how satisfied or dissatisfied were you with 2v8? The version they put out, I'm going to say neutral, but the game mode as an idea, I'd say satisfied. So I'm going to say satisfied. In future iterations of 2v8 and Dead by Daylight, which of the following killers would you like to see included as a playable option? Pick one. I mean, my guy's right there, but I don't know. I'm going to be a weirdo. I'm saying Singularity. Hear me out. Hear me out for Singularity. If they add Singularity to 2v8, here's my thought process on what they're going to do to Singularity. Here's my thought process. You can still tag people with the cameras, but you can't teleport to them. If you do the second tag, you still get overclock, but you immediately get out of your camera. So Singularity becomes like a support character, like eyeballing the survivors for the other killer. Maybe that's crazy. Maybe that wouldn't be fun. I don't know. Please select which of the following classes you play as during at least one match during... I played Medic. I played Escapist. I played Guide. No, I played them all, actually, the more I think about it. Or they can share overclock. That would be fucking nuts if they shared overclock. You tag a survivor and the other killer teleports on top of them. Oh, that would be great. Easy down. Fucking, he tags you and then just Huntress just in your face. Man. What was I? Okay. How would you rate the following escapist skills in terms of usefulness? The aura skill, isn't the aura skill the same for everybody? No, it's not. Never mind. No, I'm thinking of, okay, never mind. Vary. Escapist, while injured, moderate. So here's the thing, I'm going to say moderately, because the 3% haste really doesn't matter when you're getting sandwiched. It would be like Lifeweaver in Overwatch, Vic. It'd be like a Reinhardt charging in and then a Lifeweaver just pulling him away. Oh, that would be great. And then the group wide sprint burst. I thought that was a very cool idea. It was a little useful for Guide because the generators were everywhere. It was still nice, so I'm going to say somewhat, actually. Survivors within... I'm going to say a little for the innate skill. The reason being is because it was only on great skill checks. I get why they did that, but, like, there's no real feedback to it either. That was my biggest problem with it, personally. The aura that Jen is revealed to the team, moderately, but, like, you didn't want to stack up on Jen's. Yeah, it was very strange. Guide was probably, like, the worst one, in my opinion. Medic, moderately. Your personal inertia is increased. Very useful. When healing other survivors, their aura is revealed to the team. Survivors within 3 meters of your location have their altruistic healing. Very useful. I think Medic was the best. I think Medic and honestly, all the classes except for Guide were probably the really decently okay, I feel. I played Medic mostly because I just like going for unhooks and healing people. That was really all I did during 2v8. Whenever either killer performs a break or damage action, their aura is revealed to you. Moderately. It doesn't really matter because the person getting escape. Grunts of pain are suppressed while crouching. A little. It didn't really matter. 2v8 was so fast that hiding really didn't do much, in my opinion. So, like, having a stealth ability And a lot of people didn't even know this was a thing, I noticed. Because I would mention it sometimes and people would forget. Whenever a killer is within 60 more meters of your location, you have a line of sight on them. They're always revealed to the team. Oh, whoops. That's very useful. Please indicate to what extent the following features were enjoyable or not enjoyable in 2v8. Bigger maps compared vary. I'd say that was probably one of the cooler parts. Ability to play killer with friends, extremely. Class system. It was a cool idea, so I'm going to go with moderate. I do think it was a little flawed, though. Increased number of chests, slightly. Cage system, extremely. I love the cage system. I think it needs some kinks worked out, but the idea and how it worked, very good. Imagine a future iteration of 2v8 mode. Wait. Imagine a future iteration of 2v8s. Of a 2v8 mode in Dead by Daylight. Okay. Alright. Whatever. More killer available. If you have the feature above, how would you feel? I'd expect it. If you don't have the feature above, how would you feel? I would dislike it. Different survivor classes. I would once again expect it, and I would once again dislike it. This is a dumb setup for these questions. Yeah, eventually, but, like, you can argue that in, like, Rainbow Six Siege 2 with cameras. Like, outside cameras have, like, no point. They get shot at in the first 10 seconds, or, like, 5 seconds of the match. But they're still there, and they can still be useful. That was probably a bad analogy, but I don't know. I like the cage system. The biggest flaw of the cage system, in my opinion, was that the killers weren't forced to cage. That would be my biggest issue with it. I feel like the killers should have been forced to cage, so slugging wasn't an issue. Which they tried to prevent with that base kit Unbreakable when you're on Death Hook, which is cool, but it didn't really work when you were getting slept at the beginning of the match. Just saying. Imagine more survivor classes. Didn't they just ask it? Oh, different survivor classes. Oh, I dislike that. Oh, okay. I see what they mean now. Different and then more. Okay. Expect dislike. Okay. More supersized maps. Again, I'd expect it, and I dislike it. I feel like I'm going to answer this for all of these. More survivor items. Expect it. Dislike if it wasn't there. Cages instead of a hook system. It's... What? It's a... Okay, it's a dumb... Okay, there. The following questions will ask you about your opinions on the maps in 2v8. Azeroth's the Third, Mother's Dwelling, Suffolk, Thompson House. In general, how easy or difficult was it to navigate inside the buildings compared to outdoors on these maps? Fine. In general, how would you rate the size of these maps? I think they were all decently sized. Using the slider provided from 0 to 100%, please rate the following. What do you think the kill rate for killer was in 2v8? $75? What do you think the kill rate for killers should be? Probably 60-ish. Would you play 2v8 again in this current form? I probably would. Would you play 2v8 again after some improvements? Yes. In your opinion, how often should 2v8... Here's the tough one. Because me and I were talking about this the other day, too, with game modes being added. I don't want 2v8 to be permanent. I don't want 2v8 to be permanent. I don't want most of the game modes to be permanent. And here's my proposal. I'm going to say once a month. Hear me out on this. The weekend of Friday the 13th. Or not Friday the 13th. The weekend of the 13th should be 2v8. And this happens every month, once a month. That way it's like an event. If that makes any sense. That way it's something we expect to happen and something we can all look forward to every month. That's the way I'm looking at it. Kind of like in Splatoon with Splatfest, right? That happens every 3 months. I don't know about now because I don't keep up with the game anymore, but you know, every 3 months there was like this big hype around all the new Splatfest, and it didn't even really change the game. It was like the same game essentially, but like there was hype around it. There was fan art made and stuff like that. It felt like an event every single time it happened. And I feel like if this happens once a month, I could see it being just that. It feels like an event. So yeah, maybe that's just a me thing. The following questions will ask your opinions about Lights Out versions. Oh, here we go. Did you play? Yes. Did you play during Lights? Yes, I played original Lights Out. The following question pertains to Lights Out version 2 in the events that took place in between. How satisfied or dissatisfied were you with Lights Out version 2? Neutral. How would you rate the variety of maps? I don't know. I'd say slightly low, and only because I didn't even know Larry's was a map. I didn't get it for like 3 days. How appealing was a limited? Slightly. It's a cool idea. I do like the idea. How useful was the candelabra? Not at all. If anything, the candelabra hurt you more than it helped you. How long should the Lights Out version 2 event in its current iteration have lasted? I don't think... I think a week is fine. I think a week for that mode is perfectly okay. Because the problem with something like this is, because there was rewards tied to it, you can't make it 1 to 2 days or 3 to 5. Because some people only have that 1 day to like really sit down and play a game. So I would make it a week. After that, then yeah, I can, yeah. If any, what aspects of Lights Out did you enjoy the most? The tension. I thought the tension was great. If any, what did you dredge? Just dredge. It asks you if they should be a cosmetic or a chapter. Oh, cool! Yay! That thing I've been saying for a while. How I really wish we got more cosmetic licenses rather than just killer licenses, like full-on chapter licenses. How likely are you to play Dead by Daylight during Lights Out version 2 if the game mode were to come back in its current? It's a good brain off mode. I think that's my favorite thing about Lights Out. It was because the lack of... Oh, you know what? Actually, hang on. The lack of HUD was probably my favorite thing about Lights Out. Because when I was playing Killer, I wasn't stressing. Like, at all. I wasn't thinking about anything. If your opinion was a fair... Wait. In your opinion, what is a fair time to wait in queue when 2 games... I think it'll happen because of the controversy, but yeah. Spawn, I would love it. No Squid Game. Terminator, Terrifier, Addams Family, Casting... Behavior... You own this game. You don't have to add... Okay, whatever. The Purge? Probably not. The Shining, I would love. The Thing, I would love. Trick or Treat. Yep, there's meds right there. The Invisible Man? We talking the original one or the remake? WWE? Okay. There are a lot of wrestling fans who play Dead by Daylight. I will say that. I think this is the original Invisible Man. If that's the case, no. The newer version, though, I would love. Give me Hulk Hogan as a survivor. Oh, Evil Within. I didn't even see that. I'm going to go back through these and see. Control. I liked Control. I was one of, like, the people who actually super enjoyed that game. But no, I wouldn't want it. Because here's the thing, right? Because, like, Fallout's on here too, right? I would love Fallout and Dead by Daylight, but I feel like the game can't do it justice because... I think it would end up in a similar situation of Xenomorph, right? I love how Xenomorph is in Dead by Daylight and what they did to make Xenomorph work in Dead by Daylight. But there are a lot of people who complain that Xenomorph doesn't feel like Xenomorph, and the reason for that is because of the restrictions Dead by Daylight puts on it. And I feel like Fallout would fall into that, where the restrictions of the game make it so we can't get like an authentic license out of it. And I'm gonna say Hellboy. So who said it? If I saw Hellboy in this game, I'd be looking for. I would say Hellboy. Please indicate whether the following franchise you selected would be better as cosmetics or a chapter collection. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. I think Beetlejuice could work as a chapter. I think Chucky and Nick Cage have opened the door to having more funny horror characters. So I think Beetlegeist could work as a full-on chapter. Berserk would be a little harder, because it's. I would prefer Berserk to be a cosmetic, not because I don't think a chapter couldn't work. Kind of similar to the reasons why I don't want Fallout in the game either. I don't think they could do it justice. Billy the Puppet, I would love another Saw chapter. Bioshock, I think, could be a chapter. Bloodborne, I'm going to say cosmetics. Candyman, would love it as a chapter. Chainsaw Man, cosmetics. The Conjuring, see it as a chapter. Dead Space, could see it as a chapter. Evil Within, chapter. Friday the 13th, chapter. Ghostbusters, cosmetics. Hellboy, cosmetics. It, chapter. Jurassic Park, chapter. Methrigan, chapter. Mortal Kombat, I'm going to say cosmetics. I know some people would probably argue it could work as a chapter. I would rather it just be cosmetics for that one. Outlast, chapter. Predator, chapter. Scooby-Doo, cosmetics. I've been saying that for years. Cindy Prescott, I would rather it be a chapter, not her own thing. Slender Man, chapter. Spawn, a chapter. Terminator, chapter. Terrifier, chapter. Addams Family, cosmetics. The Shining, cosmetics. I can't see that working as a chapter, personally. The Thing, a chapter. Trick or Treat, a chapter. Until Dawn, a chapter. Hooray! That was easy. In what way do you prefer the approach to a live match in Dead by Daylight? With a very competitive spirit, with a slightly competitive spirit, with a slightly casual... probably with a slightly competitive spirit. Which of the following activities do you engage in while playing Dead by Daylight? Wait, what? Which of the following activities do you engage in while playing? Alright, behavior. The question you're asking here is, what do you do while you're playing the game? When the question should be, what do you do outside of the game? I read patch notes. I look up builds. Browse non-DBD socials. I do not engage in any other activities while playing Dead by Daylight. I guess that's what they mean, Lake. I guess. It's just, that's a very... with this question down here, I guess that's what it is. Regardless, this is what I do. I kind of just stream, mostly. Approximately how often do you engage in these activities while playing Dead by Daylight? Watch Dead by Daylight streams. While I'm playing? Rarely. 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 Sometimes. 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 That was a really dumbly worded question. DVD players have ADHD. We need our Subway Surfer video. I don't know. I'll sit there. I mean, y'all know me. I'll sit there and stare at a wall for hours and have fun. Which of the following Dead by Daylight related services / sites do you currently use? I actually don't go in the forums that often, or the Reddit. Did you get many plot twists during the slugging games? No. Actually, come to think of it, I don't think we had a single plot twist. Uh, there was a few unbreakables. There was a match with 2 exponentials. There was a match with autodidact that really messed me up. Yeah, I don't think there was a single plot twist in any of my games, the more I think about it. Odd. I feel like any other day I see it a lot more. Weird. Approximately how often do you consult the following Dead by Daylight service sites? Uh, every month. Every month, every month, every month. When gaming, what gaming companion websites do you use? None. I don't use any. Plot twist when you're going to down the third survivor hurts so badly because you have to just leave them. 4 on the floor, you don't get them. 4 on the floor, you don't get them. I will say, I mean, chat was here for it last night. Looking over the data and like my anecdotal evidence, what I was realizing is that Chucky is not that good. And I was talking to Stocky Boy about this because they play Chucky a lot too. And I think it's going to be the more interesting thing to realize with once all the data comes out. Some killers are definitely going to be better at slugging than others, obviously. But what I noticed about Chucky in particular is that he is good at slugging, but not fully slugging, if that makes any sense. He is very good at slugging if he knows where someone else is. Even if they're on the other side of the map, as long as he has the momentum and the info to go do something else, he is perfectly okay at slugging a couple of people. Trying to slug everybody, though? No, he's not good at that. He is too slow to do that, unfortunately. Especially on some of the bigger maps. The map I had the most trouble on was Swamp. I could not keep someone down to save my life on Swamp. It's kind of frustrating, to be honest. Please use the slider below to indicate your preferred theme for Twitch drops. Only Twitch theme drops? Only Dead by Daylight Twitch. I would rather the Twitch drops be Twitch themes. Please rate how likely you are to watch over 3 hours of streams for the following Twitch drops. Very likely, unlikely, unlikely, very likely, likely, very likely. The only one on here I'm probably... Yeah, banners and badges I don't care about. I'm a Chucky man. I have the 2 I need forever. How likely is it that you would recommend Dead by Daylight to a friend or colleague? 7. Speaking of this, chat, this is really funny. Someone at my job found out that I do the podcast. They subbed to my YouTube channel, and they texted me yesterday, I shit you not, about how to download the game. That's funny. That's funny. Behavior, I want my compensation. I want my consultation fee. I got you a new player and customer. In the last 3 months, have you recommended Dead by Daylight? Technically, yes. What gender do you identify? I'm male. In what year were you born? I'm about to tell chat my age. I'm 1994. How would you describe your experience level? I think I asked this last... Chat, what would you guys call me? Am I intermediate, expert, or veteran? What would I be considered? And don't try to be nice. Like, genuinely speaking, what would you consider me? Say 1915 is your birthday. But they don't crossplay on? Oh, yeah, it's a no for me. That's going to be a no for me, though. It's funny about crossplay. I told people about this. So, like, when I was on Windows Store, I used to play on Windows Store before cross progression. And there's so few people on Windows Store that if you go to the crossplay option, you are not allowed to turn it off. And I'm going to put expert. And that's not me trying to toot my own horn. I don't know. It feels right. Not really. Hooray! It's over. I should have done my usual thing at the end of those surveys when I'm like, I hope whoever's reading this has a good day. Well, that was a long-ass survey.
Subscribe, damn it. I'll be back. I always come back, and so should you, you moron.